Let's take a look at solving two-step and multi-step inequalities. Remember, these are just like equations, except there's an inequality symbol. And remember, if you multiply or divide by a negative, we have to flip that sign. So the first problem is 160 plus 4x is less than or equal to 500. So we are going to subtract 160 from both sides. And we have 4x is less than or equal to 340. Then you're going to just divide by 4. X is less than or equal to 85. And then if we graph this, do a 0, 85, negative 85, less than or equal to, solid dot, going off to the left. The next problem we have is 7 minus 2x is less than or equal to 21. It is a positive 7, so we have to subtract 7 from both sides. Please be careful. Don't forget it is a negative 2x that's getting brought down, less than or equal to 14. Now here we are going to be dividing by a negative 2, so we have to flip that sign. X is greater than or equal to negative 7. And if we graphed it, we're going to have solid dot going over to the right. Now here we're going to do a little bit of combining like terms before we start to move our terms around. So we have negative 4 plus negative 8, which is negative 12, is less than negative 5x minus 2. And go ahead and add 2 to both sides. We have negative 10 is less than negative 5x. So be careful. You've got that negative. You divide both sides by negative 5. X, flip that sign. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is 2. Now, when we graph this, for me, it's always easier if I just rewrite this. X is less than 2. And it's an open circle, and it's going over to the left. Next one, we have to distribute. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Negative 3 times negative x is a positive 3x. And 4 squared is 16. Let's go ahead and add 9 to both sides. We have 3x is less than 25. Divide by 3. And then I'm just going to go ahead and change this to 8 1/3. It's going to make it a little bit easier when you have to graph. Less than, open, over to the left. And using the 0 and then the positive and the negative value is perfectly fine when we are graphing these. On this last one, you can see I've set it up. I've written it twice because I'm going to go through the first one and I'm going to do the death by fractions or death to fractions by looking at the 2 and the 5 and saying I'm going to just multiply everything through by 10. And 10 times 4 is 40. 40 divided by 5 gives you 8x. And then 10 plus 1/2, or 10 times the positive 1/2, sorry, is 5. And then 10 times 3 is 30, divided by 5 is 6. You can go ahead and divide 8x. So you have x is greater than 1/8. Now you might not be comfortable doing it that way, and that's okay. So we will go ahead and just do it the traditional way. Subtract your 1/2, which means you need to get your common denominators. And this is going to give you 6 4/5 x greater than 1/10. Now you have to multiply by the reciprocal. These cancel out to get your x. which is 5/40ths, which simplifies to 1/8. Either method is fine. It's, I think it's a little bit easier if you can just go ahead and multiply by that common denominator.